Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. If you're new to the show, hello. In this episode, I speak with Megan, a Year 10 student from St George's Academy in Sleaford, Lincolnshire. Actually, my home county. So, big shout out to any yellow bellies out there. Now, if you're wondering as well, Year 10 is about 14, 15 years old. I just don't want to confuse any of my international listeners, all four of them. Year 10 is the start of Key Stage 4 in UK schools. So I just wanted to iron that one out before we started. Now, Megan is quite simply a remarkable young woman who, in this episode, courageously opens up about losing both her parents, life in foster care, and how humour and routine have helped her cope with grief. She talks honestly about the support she's had from her school's wellbeing service, a place called Leicester Street, which I had the privilege of visiting, and how cutting her 14-hour-a-day screen time, yes, you heard that right, completely transformed her physical and mental health. We also dig into social media pressure, the dark side of the TikTok shop, anemia, self-harm, and body image struggles. And stay tuned to the end, as I'll be sharing my top takeaway of the week from my anxiety busting toolkit. This one's a brilliant technique to help you manage stress and anxiety before and during an exam. Could be a test, a presentation, or any competitive sport. This really is a powerful episode. And I know what you're thinking. Well, you would say that, Joe, because it's your podcast, but trust me, it really is. Let's do it. Hello, everybody, and a big warm welcome to Anxiety Uncovered, the podcast that inspires young people to manage anxiety and for the adults who want to empower them to succeed. I'm Joe Roundtree, stand-up comedian, presenter, and now anxiety specialist for young people. 15 years ago, I was mugged on the streets of Barcelona, an experience that left me battling chronic anxiety, PTSD, and OCD for many years. I eventually reached out, and thanks to the incredible support from family, friends, and the amazing team at the Maudsley Hospital Centre for Anxiety, extensive therapy, and my background in psychology, I found a way through it. Now, I'm here to help you do the same. So come and join the conversation, have a listen, a laugh, and learn everything you need to know to transform your anxiety into your biggest strength. I'll see you inside. Megan, thank you so much for being here and for being the very first ever guest on the Anxiety Uncovered podcast.
Thank you.
St George's is a school I've worked with for years. Always love coming back. The staff and students here, always so welcoming. So, Year 10, how's St George's?
Well, I've been here for since Year 7, and I think it's been really good. Ever since I've been here, I've gone through quite a lot. I came because I've been in the foster care system since 2019, because my dad died in 2015, and then my mum, she got really ill. So me and my sister had to go into foster care, and then I moved around a lot, and then finally I moved to another foster home, and I've been in St George's since Year 7, and so they've been really useful mental health wise, because I've gone to Leicester Street a lot. And most of my teachers are really supportive, and they know about my situation, because in Year 8 my mum died as well. So when that happened, I had a lot of time off school, but eventually I went back to school, and Leicester Street, they're my main place that I go to when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, and this school's really helpful in my opinion.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with such courage and honesty. Losing both of your parents so young is just unimaginably heartbreaking. When your grief feels especially heavy, what helps you get through the day?
Yeah, grief is it's so weird, because my dad, I don't really get upset by my dad, which it sounds a bit weird, but I do have a sense of, well, I'm never gonna have a dad, but I did lose him when I was 4, so I can't really remember anything. But losing my mum was genuinely such a massive thing. And what my brain does, it blocks out. So all the trauma that I've gone through, I can barely remember it. But it does happen just randomly. So I might listen to a song that will remind me of my mum, and I'll get really upset. But it's been 3 years now since I lost my mum, and it is a major thing that happened to me. But I think I deal with it just, I don't know, I sense that like, oh, I'm gonna get upset, and then I just kind of think, well, like my mum would be proud of me now. And she'd be really happy to see how I'm doing in school. And I just think that even though she is gone, it sounds mean, but it's probably better that she is gone because she's not suffering anymore. So I just think it's probably the best for everyone. But I try not to think about it. Or like I make jokes. I joke about it a lot.
Yeah.
I cope a lot like with jokes and talking, like, telling funny stories.
Yeah, that's really interesting actually, because there's a saying in comedy which goes, comedy is tragedy plus time. And it means that after we go through something really hard or painful, like a loss or a sad experience, we're not often ready to laugh about it or make fun of it straight away. But as time passes and we begin to heal, we can sometimes look back and just find those little glimmers of lightness and humour amongst the darkness. And I think comedy it's a great coping strategy, isn't it?
I love humour, I love comedy, and I think that is one of the ways that I've managed to just be so like, I feel like I contain my grief, but then when someone asks me out about my mum, I just joke about it a lot, and it can get like quite awkward, but I love joking about it, because to me it just feels like my mum wouldn't want me to be upset about it, so I shouldn't be, and I'll just joke about it, because she'd probably do the same, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I guess keeping memories alive, it's a way of sort of remembering and connecting with your mum. If there's anyone listening who's been through something similar, what do you feel really helped you in those early days after losing your mum?
So when I first lost my mum, I did have like loads of time off school. I think I had like almost a month off of school, which is a lot of school to miss. But for me, after like that month, I finally decided, okay, I need to get back into a routine. So I think what helped me and what might help a lot of people is getting back into a routine. And it's not like you have to forget that it ever happened. Like you don't just push it aside, because grief never goes away. But you just need to try and live life with obviously this massive gap like missing. But you have to try and like keep on going. Because like when I first lost my mum, I thought it was like the end of the world, but it's not. And it seems really hard at first, like losing someone close to you, but it will get better, because you just need to think that, especially if it's a family member, they wouldn't want you to live your whole life just trapped inside. They want you to go out and do what you love. And like for me, that's school. I love school. And I think getting into a routine of just getting, not back to normal, but living a life that's like full, you have to get back into a routine. Yeah. So I have a lot of like pictures of my mum in my room, or just stuff that reminds me of my mum in my room. But so my mum loved like Dairy Girls and like
Love Dairy Girls.
she loved Dairy Girls, and she loved Gavin and Stacey as well. And so for example, when we scattered my mum's ashes, we went to Billericay, because that's where she wanted to have them scattered, because of Gavin and Stacey. And so she was like, she loved comedy so much. And I think what I do is I just like, I don't think I think of it like, I think it's subconscious, but I do watch loads of comedy. And then sometimes there will be moments where like, if I rewatch Dairy Girls or like, I don't know, Stath Lets Flats or something that she loved, I would just be like, oh, my mum loved this, and she'll probably love that I'm watching it too. But yeah, she loved comedy, so I think I just relive it through comedy.
Yeah. And do you have any aspirations to be a comedian, to work in the performing arts, to use sort of art as a form of expression?
Yeah, so my mum also, she went to art college, she was an art teacher as well. She loved art too, so I think I do love art as well. It's like passed down, but I think art might be something I want to pursue. She was a teacher, so I feel like I want to be a teacher maybe. But yeah, I feel like I lived through my mum, really.
Oh, that's beautiful. And what did your mum teach?
She taught a lot. She was a driving instructor one time. She was an art teacher one time, an English teacher, and yeah, that's it. Oh no, a food tech teacher as well.
Wow.
She taught a lot, but she loved teaching so much, and it's because she had an impact on other people's lives, and that's what I want to do as well. I want to be able to change someone's life in a positive way.
Well, just sitting here with you, Megan, and we haven't even started editing yet, I'm telling you, your story is going to change lives in a positive way. You're offering strength and hope to people who really need it. And honestly, I've got goosebumps just saying that. If you're comfortable sharing, could you tell us a little bit about the time before your mum passed away? Was it something you had time to prepare for, or did it come out of nowhere?
So my mum, so after my dad died, she struggled a lot with mental health, and I'm not sure if like, I don't know, if she, like because of her mental health, she didn't go outside, so she lacked a lot of like, her immune system wasn't as strong or something. But then she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which is like a disease that there's not enough research about because there's just nobody knows a lot about it. But my mum was in denial a lot. She was very stubborn, so nobody could really tell her that she did have it. She always said, no, it's just arthritis. But then it started getting worse in like 2020. So she was diagnosed with it in 2015, and then it started getting worse and worse and worse. And me and my sister, we noticed it because she used to be able to walk, but then she went into a wheelchair, and she was struggling a lot with like depression as well. And then she had a lot of strokes. I think she had like 3 strokes in total. And then she eventually passed away, but that was because her multiple sclerosis caused like, I think it was bladder and bowel failure. So she got sepsis and then she died. And the hospital was horrible. She got put into end of life care and then out of end of life care and then into like ICU and then into end of life care again. So it was like a real roller coaster. But it was a long drawn out process, to be fair, but it was really sad hearing that she did die. But when she did, I was happy because like, that sounds horrible, but I was happy because it was also on a Sunday and she was a big Christian. And it was like, almost like, because she would want to believe that God said, it's time for you to like come back and go to heaven. And it was Sunday. So I think she'd probably be happy that it was on Sunday too.
Yeah. So Sunday's always a special day for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I do, I wouldn't say I'm a Christian myself, but I do love that my mum was so faithful. Like, she was so faithful. She went to church when she could. She did bring me and my sister up on Christianity, but she was so open to everything. And I think that's where I get like my love for religion and philosophy and stuff like that. I love it all, and I love my mum for teaching me about like all that stuff. And it's just so amazing to me that she was taken on like her favourite day.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of philosophy, especially the Stoics. And there's this really nice idea from Stoic philosophy, which I live by. It's called amor fati, and it's Latin, and it means love your fate. It's like a mindset for making the best out of anything that happens. It's about treating each and every moment, no matter how challenging, as something to be embraced and not avoided. So instead of thinking, oh, you know, why is this happening to me? Amor Fati invites you to say, this is happening and I'm going to use it for me. And it's not about pretending that everything's fine when it isn't. It's more like saying, look, I didn't choose this pain, this struggle or this setback, but I'm going to choose what I do with it. That's the difference. So whether it's anxiety, loss, failure, or change, it's just about turning life's challenges into fuel for your potential. A bit like the quote, you grow through what you go through. I like that one.
So intriguing. I love it because everyone has their own outtake on life. Like, there's the egg theory. There's so many theories on like who you are and what is actually going on. What's the purpose of life?
Tell us about the egg theory.
So I saw it on social media, and it's basically a theory where, like, I'm pretty sure it's like you are the only person, and like everyone else doesn't exist. Like, you're the only person, and everyone else that exists is like made up. So you've made them up. So you are your own person, and like, for example, I've made you up, so I'm the only one who exists on this world. It's a bizarre theory, but it's just so interesting because like some people believe that, and that's okay, but some people believe that, and then some people believe that, and then people control us. Like, we're just a small universe, and other bigger universes like play play a game and we're just like the characters in the game or something like that. And it's just, I find philosophy beautiful, really.
I will definitely be looking into egg theory. It sounds fascinating. You mentioned earlier Leicester Street, which is the student wellbeing hub here at St George's. Can you tell us a little bit about Leicester Street?
Yeah, so Leicester Street is like, it's for student wellbeing. And basically, so I started going in year 8 after my mum died. And they noticed that I was struggling. And what you do is you basically just book a meeting. And it's basically like a free, almost like offload session. So you just sit there for an hour and you just talk about everything that's happened. They ask you questions. And it's not like therapy exactly, but it is therapeutic, to be fair, because you can just sit there for an hour and just talk about anything that's on your mind. And I think it's like definitely a safe space in school, because if you have like worries and like if you're worried about yourself or someone else, then you can tell them and they will give you the right resources. And they're so amazing. And they definitely help a lot of students, because I'm friends with people who also go to Leicester Street, and they definitely help a lot of students with like mental health and talking about mental health as well.
Brilliant. So how important do you think it is to have places like Leicester Street, wellbeing hubs, people that aren't teachers? I mean, I've been to Leicester Street. I mean, it's a really nice building. You've got a bit of open space. You can just go there, decompress, get yourself away. How important do you think it is to have places like that in schools?
I think it's crucial. I genuinely think it's so important, because mental health, it's a big topic that not a lot of people seem to talk about, and they seem to get very uncomfortable talking about it, understandably, because it is a very hard, deep topic to talk about. But I think it's crucial because some students, a lot of students actually, don't like teachers, and they say they hate school. And it's understandable, because like school is just a set routine where you have to do the same thing every day, and it's really draining sometimes. And if you have like a space where a student can go and just talk about their problems, especially if they're having struggles at school or at home and they don't feel like they have a place where they can just like be themselves, if they get like bullied or like something's going on at home, a place where they can just have comfort and talk to someone that isn't necessarily a teacher, but they still know, like they can still understand and relate. It's just so nice to just be able to have some time to yourself, especially if you're struggling.
Yeah. What would you say to anyone out there listening who feels embarrassed or ashamed, or just, like you mentioned earlier, you sort of shut down? Because for me, it took me sort of about 3 years to pluck up the courage, because I thought, I'm a guy, I shouldn't feel like this. I shouldn't have to ask anyone for help. Because there's a lot of shame attached to it. And it took me always, I talk about it in the podcast. It's like, it took me 20 seconds of insane courage just to say, I'm really struggling and need help. Just that was just like someone letting a massive amount of pressure off me. So what would you say to someone out there who's maybe a little bit embarrassed, a little bit ashamed, just struggling to maybe say those first words? What could the first words be?
So with mental health, it is like a very big, vast subject. And I think a lot of people, they do get like ashamed or uncomfortable or embarrassed talking about mental health, like you said. And I think the main thing to remember is that mental health is a worldwide issue. And everyone has mental health. We all have a good mental health or mental health problems. Everyone has struggled with mental health at some point in their life. And it's just to think that a lot of people say, but you are never alone, because so many people have there's so much research going into mental health, and so many people have been diagnosed with things, and there's therapists and counselors, and of course they're always going to be there for you, so you're never alone, and they can't judge you. So you just need to think that everyone has struggled with it in their life, and everyone will go through a hard point in their life, and you genuinely just need to think, okay, well, I can see that I'm struggling. What can I do? It doesn't matter about anyone else. You just need to think, what can I do to help myself get out of this hole that I'm in?
Yeah. So what would you recommend for anyone out there to say? What would be the first words? Because that, for me, I wrote them down. It'd be like, how do I say it? And is that right? And I'll be crossing them out going, I don't want to say that. Sounds ridiculous. What are the first words to come out of someone's mouth if they're really struggling?
I I think so. I have struggled with like mental health before. At one point, I struggled with like self-harm, and I had to have a chat with my carer, and she said, "I've like noticed," and I've had to say like, "Yeah, I have struggled with it." But the main thing that you need to do is like just say to someone that you trust, someone that, so it could be like a best friend, it could be a family member, someone that you're really close with, just say, I'm really struggling. And you can get into a conversation. It doesn't even have to be a long conversation. Some people, I've seen it on TV when they just write down how they're feeling. Maybe it's easier to just write down everything you feel, just spill it out onto a page and then just show it to the person to just describe how you feel, and they will try and help you and get you the help that you need.
Thank you very much. And obviously you mentioned very courageous there about self-harm. Would you say that it's best to come forward about it? You know, when you were doing it, did you actually say, I'm self-harming and I need help with this?
So when I first like self-harmed, I found it like I was almost ashamed, because I knew like deep down I shouldn't be doing this. I'm harming myself. Like, it hurts. I shouldn't be doing this. There are so many other ways to cope with this. But it was like my last resort. I just went to it because it was the only way I could really let out my emotions. And it was like a lot of built up anger, a lot of like built up sadness. But if you're at the stage where you feel like there's nobody can help you, then even like turning to Childline, for example, it's anonymous. You just talk about your feelings and they can like source you some help. They can give you advice that really does help. I've called Childline before to talk about like some of my problems just mentally, because I felt like I had no one else to talk to. And it's nothing wrong to do in my life now, but it's just, I felt like I had no one. And genuinely just talking to someone, I mean, it's a big thing, but you need to just find someone to talk to. It doesn't matter who it is, just someone to talk to.
Brilliant. So it could be parent, carer, guardian, trusted teacher, Childline. There's going to be loads of stuff in the show notes as well. Been speaking about Kooth, Shout as well. Have you heard of Shout? Yeah. Great for anxiety, and lots of other resources out there. Now that you are in a really good place, what are your top sort of coping strategies now for anxiety? If you feel stressed, overwhelmed, what really helps you?
So I've found that, I mean, I used to be very pessimistic and really quiet and shy. And I feel like I've had a complete turnaround and I'm quite optimistic and talkative. But I think one of my like number one coping strategies is talking to people. I love talking to people. I love talking. And
you're really good at it. You're very good at it.
And I think just like talking to someone, just even if it's just like, how's your day? It's just nice to talk to people and get to know them. And it also shows that maybe that person is going through similar struggles as you, and you will have something to almost bond over, because I have bonded with people over trauma. As like horrible as it sounds, you can have really nice conversations with people and just share your experiences. And like, I mean, another coping strategy is probably like, I watch a lot of TV, which
comedies.
Yeah, I love comedy.
Yeah.
And I just, when like I just turn off my phone and I just watch TV. And when I'm watching TV, I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of like series, sitcoms. And when I'm just watching the TV, it's just like, it's almost like I'm in that world, and it's just separated from the real world, separated from social media, because like social media, I deleted social media and like Snapchat, because I hate it, and it definitely ruined my, like, not my life completely, but it definitely didn't help what I was going through.
Can you tell us a bit about that? So are you on any social media at the moment?
So I do use TikTok, but I don't go on it that much anymore, because so I had this thing like late last year, early this year, and I noticed that I was going on social media way too much. My screen time was like 14 hours a day, maybe. It was appalling. It was genuinely horrible. And I noticed that could be a root to some of my problems, because I was getting really stressed out, especially on Snapchat. So I had like streaks with people, which is where you send pictures to each other like a few days in a row, and then you get a streak, and then they could see like my location, like my friends could, because I shared it with them, and they could see if I wasn't replying to them. So I got a lot of pressure like built up, and it was like you could like they made this thing where you could see if someone was half swiping, so wasn't reading your message fully, and it's like it got too like, it was so much, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So I literally just deleted it one day, and genuinely, social media deleting it can be like a big step. I know it's really hard because everyone these days like uses social media, but it can be a big step because it encourages you to just stay off your phone, because I had a horrible addiction to my phone. But when you stop seeing that negative information on social media, because there is a lot of negative information on social media, a lot of fake news, and then a lot of like posts that are just really negative and horrible. When you just remove yourself from that situation, it opens up this new world where you can just go outside and go for a walk, and you won't have people like on your back just saying, why aren't you reading my messages? Why are you not replying? And it's just so amazing. And I think social media can be a big problem. And it can be amazing. Like, social media can be a good thing, but too much can make you like struggle really bad. So I think social media is a big problem. But I mean, I just deleted it for my own sake, to be fair.
So you got rid of Snapchat and now you do a bit of TikTok.
Yeah.
So roughly what's your screen time now? So you're on 14 hours, and where are you now?
I think I've reduced it to 4 to 6 hours, which genuinely, it does sound like a lot, but compared to I was spending 14 hours a day on TikTok. So considering that, I mean, I usually spend 12 hours of the 24 hours a week, and then like the rest sleeping or something, or like that's your downtime. Considering I was going like to 2 a.m. just scrolling on TikTok, it's just, or like messaging people on Snapchat, it's just so bad. Like, and I was earlier this month or last month, I was diagnosed with anemia, and not only my anemia was making me feel really tired, but I realized that when I deleted social media, I was getting better sleep as well. So I think deleting social media just like, it makes you feel better mentally and physically, because it makes you feel more energized because you're not staying awake all night. And it makes me feel better mentally as well, because I wasn't having all this pressure just to talk to people.
So coming off your phone allowed you to get more sleep, which was helping your anemia. Can you tell us a little bit about anemia?
Anemia is a lack of iron. So I think I've had it for years and years and years, but it also affected my eating, because I got this thing called pica, which is an eating disorder where you have the urge to eat inedible objects. So ice is one of them.
Ice?
Yeah, it's quite a common one.
Yeah, my daughter eats a lot of ice.
Yeah, I've eaten loads of inedible objects, but it did come down to my anemia. And also, like, I noticed that so TikTok also caused me to have like quite a bad body image, or like, well, a depiction of a bad body image, and I was like getting very insecure, because a lot of people my age do struggle with like body image and eating and stuff like that. And I think deleting TikTok or like deleting Snapchat or just anything, it does change the way that you look at yourself as well, because when you don't have like all these people on your For You page just talking about how to make yourself look prettier or to make yourself stronger at the gym, it genuinely makes you feel better about yourself. Because now, like, even if I see like a TikTok like that on my For You page, I just scroll past it, or I just like say that I'm not interested in those kind of videos, because if you remove yourself from the situation, it can make a huge difference.
That's brilliant. So do you think you can change the algorithm? Because there was this bit of, what would you call it? Like a conspiracy theory, because TikTok's a Chinese company. Apparently, if you're like a 13-year-old in China, your TikTok experience is very different to someone in the West, because the idea is that they want to pollute the minds of the West, and they want to, you know, keep it all savory and wholesome for the people in the East. So do you feel that even though TikTok can be quite bad, if you say this video isn't for me, or you swipe past it quickly, you can almost train the algorithm to present you with things that you are into and that keep you, I guess, positive and happy about your body image?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of people like my age who go on social media and they get a lot of political pollution. So they get a lot of like media that isn't like really healthy. Like they get a lot of like pro right wing or even pro left wing, and it's just it creates a lot of like bad thoughts going around the internet. And I think you definitely can in some ways control your algorithm. It depends on what you search. So, for example, on TikTok yesterday, I searched this artist, and then my For You page was like 5 videos. Every time I scrolled, I just got another video of that artist. And I was like, oh, I just searched them. So it can definitely, like, you can do something about it if you just, like, if you see, like, fake news on TikTok, you don't research into it. Or if you do, go and Google it yourself, or go and watch the news and go ask someone else, because it can definitely change the way that you, like, look at stuff. But with, like, body image as well, if you search up negative content online, you will get negative content online. There is only, like, one way that happens. You search it up and you get more and more negative content. So, for example, when I was, like, struggling with my body image, I searched a lot of, like, stuff to do with how to, like, lose weight quickly.
Right, okay.
When I searched that up, a lot of stuff that came up after was, like, almost promoting, in a way, like, eating disorders. And, like, it was almost like romanticizing eating disorders as well. There's a lot of TikToks that you can find literally just by searching some keywords. You will find stuff that romanticizes eating disorders, which is really unhealthy, especially for younger people, because they will get into that sense of, oh, that's amazing, I'll just do that. And it is very social media and like websites, they are a very open place. You can find anything online, and it is, like, unrestricted. You can find anything. There will be a way to find anything.
Yeah.
I can just search up dieting as a 15-year-old girl, and I mean, they won't know I'm 15, but I will look up, like, I looked up a diet called 1 meal a day, and I tried to follow that, like, really bad, and that is bad, because a 15-year-old shouldn't be eating, like, that many calories. Like, that's nothing. Like, I was eating nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that young people can find content like that really easily.
Yeah. And were you getting presented with adverts for weight loss pills, or were you being sold stuff off the back of the searches?
Yeah, definitely. So on TikTok, there's a thing called TikTok Shop, because
Yeah.
I did most of the negative things I've experienced are from TikTok. When I searched up, like, 1 meal a day stuff, there were, like, adverts that started to come up on my For You page about, like, one of them was vitamins that you can buy and take to make yourself lose weight quicker. And it's just, even as simple as vitamins, I mean, it's probably false advertisement, because you probably can't just lose weight from vitamins. But even just that, it's still dangerous, because if you got more than just, like, vitamins, for example, I've got, like, there was also a waist trainer one where you could buy this almost corset-like thing, and it could train your waist to be, like, slimmer. I did some research into it, my own research, and I figured out that it can really damage your ribs. So accessing that at a young age, like, I mean, I was younger, so I was more ignorant, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. But after doing some more research, it's really not. And the fact that it was advertised to me when I was, like, still a teenager is really damaging.
And how many years ago was that?
Probably like last year.
Yeah. But I mean, again, you don't have to be, you can be on, there are people on TikTok that are 9 years old, because it is unfiltered, it's unchecked. So you could say, oh, I'm 16, but, you know, you could be 7 years old, and 7-year-olds are getting this information.
Exactly,
Yeah. So what would you say to anyone out there that's struggling with their social media use? You've said you've come off Snapchat, which is great. You know, you banished TikTok for a while, but you still come on it, but you feel got a bit more control over it. Do you take your mobile phone into the bedroom at night, or do you now charge it outside the room?
So what I do is I do take it into my bedroom, but where I charge my phone, so that is a major thing that helped me, like, overcome, like, phone addiction was. So what I do is I charge my phone on the other side of my room. So when I first wake up in the morning, so I charge my phone next to my bed, and then I wake up, I go on my phone. That is a really unhealthy habit to get into, because you just wake up and then you doom scroll for hours and hours and hours. So if you put it on, like, the other side of your room, as simple as that, you will have motivation to get out of bed, and maybe you'll get distracted by going down and brushing your teeth or getting dressed, and then you'll spend less and less time on your phone, especially in the morning and even at night, because you'll put it on charge, then you'll go to bed, which is on the opposite side of your room. And even if that is still a struggle, I think just what I did was I just, like, turned on my phone like powed it off, and I just asked my carer to put it in a drawer or just hide it from me, so I would have no urge to go on my phone. And if I had an urge to go look for it, I just like distract myself by watching TV, or I distract myself by doing some art or listening to music. And I think definitely like just asking other people for help to just help hide it can essentially like really help. It helped me like just feel like I don't need to go on my phone all the time.
Yeah, because if you power it down then and you put it in a different room or you give it to someone, then I've got to go and ask them for it back, and I've got to turn it on. Yeah, I do this now. I literally like get my phone, turn it off, chuck it on my bed, and then go to my office. And then, you know, after about a minute, I get bored, I get distracted. I'm like, I can't be bothered. I'll just crack on. Yeah. So yeah, it's really good. So Miss gave Megan some techniques that I shared from the Anxiety Uncovered toolkit. So are you all right for water, by the way? Yeah. So are there any of the techniques that you used?
Yeah, so I saw one of the techniques was to talk to yourself and like almost talk to yourself in third person. So like say, oh, Megan wouldn't do this, or Megan, like you've done this before, you can overcome it. And I also saw that in, so I have a maths tutor who also did psychology at university or A-level. And he told me that if I get like stressed out in my exams, to write down on the paper how I'm feeling. So write down in the bit where you're not allowed to write because it won't scan in, and just write down how you're feeling. And it can actually make you retain more information. So I looked at that, and I did like, if I get stressed, I do it subconsciously anyway. I just say like, why are you getting upset about this? You've done it before, you can do it again. And it's really helpful because it's almost like you're looking out on yourself from a totally different perspective, and you're just saying to yourself, you can do this. It's really nice to just write down how you're feeling, or just say how you're feeling out loud, like, oh, I'm really upset, or oh, I'm really angry. I think it was my religious studies exam, I wrote down that I was really hungry. And even if it's just as simple as being hungry, I wrote it down, and I was like, I told myself that, well, I'm going to get some food after. So it kind of like, what it does is, because when I get hungry, I get like, I think I get quite annoyed, or I get like, I don't know, I get quite hangry. So I wrote it down, and I just like push the negative thoughts out of my head. So even like writing it down, it's been proven like journaling can really help. Writing down your feelings kind of makes you look at them, read them over, and then it kind of like pushes them out of my head. Like for me, it like just really gets rid of the negativity, because it's like I've wrote it down and I can see that I'm feeling like that, but right now there are bigger things to deal with, like this exam. So I just wrote it down and kind of pushed it away for now.
And then did you sort of coach yourself with that thought? Were you able to rationalise it, sort of step back from it a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. And even in my head, like if I say, like, for example, in my maths exam, I was stressing a lot, and I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like in my head, I was just thinking to myself, I can't do this. I really can't do this. But when you sit down and you just, like, it's almost like you have to look into your head and you just have to think, I can do this. Even if I don't do this, I'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. And it really like, it helps you just like contain the information, like how you are feeling. And it really helps you like understand. It helps you understand yourself, really. It really does.
Megan, honestly, that was brilliant. You are just an incredible young woman, and I could talk to you all day. You're smart, you're funny, and just ridiculously self-aware. It's kind of scary in the best possible way. You've shown more courage and compassion in this conversation than most people twice your age. So thank you. I'm so grateful. You're a role model. You're incredible. I just know this interview is going to help so many people feel a little less alone, and that's why I started it, and that's what it's all about. So thank you for being here, for trusting me, and for sharing something so personal. Your mum and dad would be so proud of you. Megan, thank you.
Thank you.
Listening to Megan's story has really made me stop and think. At what age should teenagers be given smartphones and access to social media? In his book, The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt suggests no smartphones before age 14 and no social media before 16. And honestly, hearing Megan speak just reinforces that idea for me. Should UK schools be looking to Australia for inspiration, where most states now have introduced strict school time mobile phone bans, and the federal government in Australia has now passed legislation to prevent under 16s from accessing social media, requiring tech companies to implement age checks or face hefty fines? Is it time for our government to step up and introduce proper regulations, like requiring proof of age to sign up for social media? There are some brilliant grassroots movements out there like Smartphone-Free Childhood, which my wife and I have found really, really helpful. Links are in the show notes. That's actually how we discovered the Balance phone. We got it for our son Walter when he turned 10. We got it shipped over from Barcelona, and it's a kind of halfway point between a basic brick phone and a smartphone. It looks modern, but has no internet, no social media, just the essentials. So what do you think? What role do we as parents, carers, teachers, schools, or just adults who care play in helping young people manage their digital world? Let's keep the conversation going. Time now for my top takeaway of the week from my anxiety busting toolkit. This week it's, drum roll please, write it, don't fight it. I've also prepared a PDF that you can download and print out if you like. It's in the show notes, so you can go through this technique in your own time at your own pace. All right, so we're going to walk through this one step by step, and it's an idea that Megan talked about in this episode, the power of writing things down, not just during an exam, but before it as well. And it can also be used for talks, presentations, and competitive sport. It's called expressive writing and cognitive offloading. So when you feel anxious or overwhelmed, your brain gets cluttered with thoughts. We've all been there. If you write them down, it clears space in your working memory, so your brain can focus better on the actual exam. Think of it a bit like shutting down the background apps just to speed up your phone. Research from the University of Chicago found that students who spent just 10 minutes writing about their worries before an exam boosted their scores by nearly a whole grade, especially those who were feeling most anxious. This type of writing was first explored by psychologist Dr. James Pennebaker at the University of Texas, and it's since become a well-known tool used in therapy, education, and elite sports. So if nerves ever hijack your brain before an exam, before a speech, or a big game, don't bottle it up. Grab a pen, let it out, and give your brain some space to breathe. Okay, let's look at it. Expressive writing. You do this about 10 to 15 minutes before the exam starts, okay? So step one, grab your pen and paper. This works best with actual pen and paper, not your phone, and it doesn't have to be neat, it's just for you. Step two, set a timer for 8 minutes. Just 8 minutes. You're not writing an essay, you're literally just dumping the noise out of your brain. Step three, write freely. Absolutely no filter. Write down every anxious or stressful thought you have about the exam. Don't try and sound clever, just let it out. Write messy, write fast, write honest. No grammar police. This is about emotional decluttering, brain vomit. Just spew it out onto the page, and it's going to clear that mental traffic jam. So, for example, you could write things like, oh, what if I blank and forget everything? I'm worried. I'm going to mess it up. I feel sick just thinking about it. What if I let people down? I'm going to fail. Getting those worries onto paper helps your brain stop ruminating and prepares it to focus. Step four, don't judge what comes out. No one is reading this. You're not trying to fix the problem. You're just unhooking from the fear and getting it out of your head. Step five, rip it up. You can rip that page up. You don't have to. You can keep it if you want. Some people like to keep their page for posterity. Others rip it up as a way of saying, I've dealt with it. Now I'm ready. Okay. That was expressive writing. That was before an exam. So now let's look at what you could do during the exam. And this is something that Megan touched upon. Even after all your prep, anxious thoughts can still sneak in during the exam. We've all been there. That's where the second writing strategy comes in, called cognitive offloading. So you do this quickly and discreetly on a rough piece of paper or a spare space on your exam sheet. Here we go. Step 1, notice the worry. So say you're in the middle of a question and boom, your brain says, you're running out of time. Everyone else is writing more than you. What if I fail it and I ruin everything? We've all been there. I remember it in exams, you're like looking around at what everyone else is doing. That person that's always just constantly writing. You're like, just stop writing and just be worried like me. Step 2, write it down, but do it fast. On your rough sheet, write exactly what the anxious thought is. Remember, Megan, I'm hangry. Just one line, whatever it is. Other stuff could be like, oh, I'm freaking out. I won't finish. Write it down. This question looks impossible. Write it down. I'm blanking out. Write it down. Cognitive offloading works because you're physically moving the thought from your brain to the paper. And it's going to help your brain stop looping the worry and be able to return to the task. Step 3, get moving again quick. Once it's written down, it's out of your head. Refocus on something productive like, right, underline a keyword in the next question. Start bullet pointing some ideas. Pick any question you can answer. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. Remember, write it down to calm it down. The page can hold your anxiety so your brain doesn't have to. Good luck. Make sure you give us a follow, subscribe, share with a mate, and get in touch. Next week on Anxiety Uncovered, and over the next 2 episodes, I explore the big question. Why do we experience anxiety? Why do we experience it? I'll see you inside. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Anxiety Uncovered. Be sure to stay tuned for future episodes and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed the show and you think others would too, I'd be really grateful if you could recommend it and we can grow this community together. To get in touch or follow on social media, check out the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have ideas for future episodes or topics related to anxiety that you'd like to learn more about, please get in touch and I'll dedicate those episodes to you. If you need help right now, please speak up, even if it feels hard. Talk to a trusted adult, friend, or family member. It took me just 20 seconds of insane courage to go to the doctor and ask for help after putting it off for many years, and it honestly saved my life. For additional support, consider free online resources like Anxiety UK, which offers confidential help, or Shout, SHOUT, a free 24/7 text service for anyone in the UK who's struggling. And if you're outside the UK, I highly recommend the website adda.org. I'm your host, Joe Rowntree. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, big love, Godspeed, and Amor Fati.